Harada saw how divided people were about Trump as well. And then we were like, oh my god, he would make a good villain in the game.
Tekken 8, Heihachi, gone. He's presumed dead. Are you nervous about moving on without Heihachi? Is that scary to kind of move on without the series poster boy?
いや、別に
Not really. I mean, we just really had to have the story play out like it did for Tekken 7, and it was necessary. But other than that, 8, we have a lot of cool things planned, so it's not like there'll be a huge loss without him. I think the new character is amazing, so I mean, even without Heihachi, maybe some people who are playing him, maybe will be motivated to check out Victor, Azucena, or Reina. Especially, I would say Reina. You should check her out. She's a lot of fun.
So, you're ruling out a robot Heihachi? Heihachi's not going to show up at the end of the story to be like, I'm alive all along?
いやー、まあ
This story is actually going to play out pretty cool without him, just because it's a change of the lineup, and we'll see how that plays out. So yeah, I don't think you're missing that much.
Tekken has always had a very, very diverse cast. You obviously just introduced Victor from France with the latest game. Is there any kind of cultures you're looking towards or looking forward to adapting to a character in the future? Maybe someone from Pakistan, obviously, with the likes of Arslan Nash.
そう、今、割とその、例えば、アズセナ
We've had our eyes on the Peruvian community for quite some time. They have a very vibrant community down there, a lot of strong Machina players. But there's other places outside of Pakistan that you mentioned as well. For example, Ivory Coast, Kenya, Madagascar, some areas that are starting to really stand out in Tekken. We even thought maybe an African character would be kind of interesting, but it's not like it's going to come out right away. Since we have to do our due diligence about adapting the culture into a proper character and respecting that particular culture, it takes us quite some time to do our research and make sure everything is cool before we turn it into a proper character. So although we've been saying Africa for a bit now, it might be some time before you actually see that happen.
Has there been any characters floated out there that, you've maybe thought about adding and you thought, because obviously Gon is a farting dinosaur, obviously that's also bizarre, but...
I thought his idea, Colonel Sanders, was kind of...
yeah. Gordon Ramsey.
Gordon Ramsay, okay.
I could see it.
I think Negan made sense because, I don't know if you saw the connection there, but we released Akuma and he was, the audience exploded. Then we were like, okay, cool. And then we announced Geese Howard, another popular villain, and people exploded. And they already love Kazuya or Heihachi and his villains. So we knew that, okay, who's going to be an even worse villain? And Negan was the worst at the time. He'd happened to kill Glenn and all that stuff. And we were like, wow, how can you get worse than him? So from our perspective, it was just the natural continuation of the villains that people seem to like. So yeah, I can understand the comment that a lot of people said it seemed strange perhaps, but for us it was like he was that continuation of the evil people that the fans seem to really be enjoying with Tekken 7.
あと、あれがあったんですよ。
We were thinking of villainous characters. We were in the US at the time the election results were being pulled for the Trump versus Biden. No, wait, Trump, Hillary and Trump. And at the time it was like, Trump's a joke character, he's not going to win. And then we saw the polls come in and it gradually turned into it. And Harada saw how divided people were about Trump as well when we were riding an Uber or taxi and people were like, oh, I hate that guy, blah, blah. And then we were like, oh my God, he would make a good villain in the game. You could have all kinds of crazy rage arts and dumb spoken lines and things that would be a good villainous character. But in hindsight, it's a good idea. We probably didn't do that.
So what you're telling me is it's like Akuma, Geese, Negan, Gordon Ramsay, Trump in terms of evil.
Makes sense, doesn't it?
I've written it down. I'm nervous. I've noticed the t-shirt, so I'm going to get in trouble. Tekken Cross Street Fighter. That's the question. You can say it if you want.
テクノストリートファイトが質問だけど、多分回答がこれなんじゃない？
ですね。はい。もう何も言えることはないです。
Nothing to say.
I have no comment.
That's okay. Are you open to more projectile-based fighters in the future, or was that Tekken 7's thing and we're going on to... Because obviously Tekken Tekken 8's very aggressive, you're very in your face with Tekken 8.
いや、まあ、プロジェクタイルがどう
If you look at the player base as a whole, there's probably a lot of people that really that appealed to having those guest characters, and we had it at launch for Akuma, I think, for Tekken 7. So it really helped in that manner. So it's not necessarily a bad thing. It's kind of a more difficult conversation than a lot of people led on to. That said, for Tekken 8, do we want to do that? Not quite sure. I mean, obviously for the launch of 8, we want to focus on the more Tekken legacy characters and the more Tekken-like characters from the start. So that's just a focus for us at the moment. But that's not to say that some kind of guest character like that won't appear later on while we're updating the game, etc. I actually touched on this recently on social media. It was some people said we don't want to see 2D characters in Tekken, etc. But I made the point that a lot of people do. Tekken is so many things to so many different people. There are esports players who play at the highest level, but there's someone who just likes to play story mode and find out what the favorite characters do, or maybe just customizing their characters, etc. So just because you don't like the 2D characters doesn't mean that everyone doesn't like them. I think people need to take a step back and be a little bit more rational about it.
The fighting game scene's kind of revitalized since 2009 or so. Street Fighter, Mortal Kombat, Tekken, all within about 7 months of each other, I want to say. Do you like the competition? Do you like that everyone's firing off on all cylinders? Everyone's at the top of their game?
個人的にはというか
He actually wishes there were more rivals because if the ones that you mentioned are mainly 2D fighters. So you've got Street Fighter, Mortal Kombat, more recently. And before that, there was Guilty Gear Strive that came out and was quite successful. But they're all 2D fighters. So if you look at 3D fighting genre, it's pretty much Tekken is the only one that's really survived. Virtua was around for a bit, and then also our own Soul Calibur, right? But Tekken's the only one that's really been continually updating. So it would be nice to see some kind of a rival 3D fighter from another company, not ours, right? So it would be cool to see someone come out with a proper 3D game that looked really awesome to push us to have that kind of rivalry. I mean, it's a good thing for the fans in general when you have that atmosphere.